Honorable Jagbahodu Singh Sitaram, Minister of Business, Enterprise and Cooperatives, Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, His officials of the public sector, Secretary General Raju Jadu, former Secretary General Mahmoud Chihu, staff of the MCCI, chairpersons and CEO of fellow private sector organizations, distinguished guests, members of the MCCI, representatives of the media, ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thank you for being amongst us this morning. I reserve my special thanks to our ministers who have always honored us with their presence at our AGMs. This is a strong testimony to the synergy that exists in the private sector relationship, which is so important in our development model. The state of the economy addressed today a firmly established tradition of the Mauritius Chamber of Commerce and Industry, as it has been for so many years. It is a perfect platform for the private sector to voice its assessment and concerns over the year gone by, to outline the impediments to the free functioning of the market forces, while also acknowledging the opportunities that appear. The speech has survived the countless assaults of mercurial economic conditions, and this longevity radiates the forcefulness of the Mauritian private sector in the face of adversity and its formidable capacity to constantly evolve and reinvent itself to remain at the forefront to further the economic development of the country. The recent crisis that conjured a recurring miasma of analysis and forecast that are constantly and conspicuously imposed on everybody by everybody. In this overabundance of information, a question arises. Is there still a need and time for yet another discourse today, evaluating the economy? The answer is yes. Maybe 1,000 times yes. We are choosing to shun humility and be proud of our ability. Over the years, 165 to be exact, we have been able to stick to our mandate, and with the close collaboration of our members and the government, strive towards improving the business environment and contributed to the economic development of Mauritius. We have been at the service of the business community, translating and echoing their fears and their hopes. We have developed economic tools to substantiate our arguments. We have never strayed away from our responsibilities, and we will not deviate from this path. Ladies and gentlemen, on a global level, we have just put the lead on a year reminiscent of the Halcyon period, prior to which it was next to impossible to predict what was going to happen in the next few hours, never mind the next few days. It was not a year where large corporations were closing on a daily basis, where the queue at job centers kept on stretching, where a minus sign preceded all growth figures. True, growth in world output has been lower than that of 2012, but it is not far from it, and is still quality growth. Another relapse has been avoided, and it can safely be said that some reasonable distance has been put from not such a distance past. This global conjuncture is closely reflected by the Mauritian economy. The dwindling potential growth reflects, to a large extent, the dismal trend of investment over the last few years. The nefarious effects of falling capital formation are felt, both in short and long term. A contraction of 4.3% of gross domestic fixed capital formation in 2013 shows that the situation is only worsening. In fact, in the last 4 years, investment has fallen thrice. The share of private sector investment relative to GDP has fallen to 16% from 18.8% in 2010, and as a result of the dearth of projects and a lack of incentives to invest in new technology. The low prevailing rate level of confidence stifled the entrepreneurial spirit of investors, causing them to delay the implementation of their projects. In time of crisis, enhanced public investment should be able to offset the fall in private investment. However, this does not seem to be the case in Mauritius. Public sector investment relative to GDP has fallen to 5% in 2013 from 6.1% in 2010, with a 4.9% contraction in 2013. The rate of growth in consumption has also been underwhelming. Despite the PRB recommendation, this was expected as a compensation in salary applied to less than 1/5 of the working population, with a higher level of compensation going to those having a lower marginal propensity to consume, is bound to be of limited impact on the general economy. In fact, consumption grew at a rate of 2.4% in 2013, lower than the 2.8% growth recorded during the previous year. Given this, and the fact that compensation to employees increased to 39.9% of GDP in 2013 from 38.5% previously, it was expected that the savings rate would increase. However, this was not the case, with gross national saving relative to GDP tumbling to 14% last year, as opposed to the rate of 15.1% in 2012, leading to some concerns about the capacity of the economy to support the future investment. Net exports of goods and services as percentage of GDP remain negative, although this deficit has been reduced. Indeed, from minus 12.1% of GDP in 2012, the deficit fell to minus 11.5% last year, following an increase of 0.5% of export and 2.9% increase in imports. It is worth noting that while exports of goods increased by 3%, export of services registered a fall of 1.4%. The shrinking of the deficit is hugely due to a slight depreciation of the rupee vis-à-vis the currencies of our major trading partners. Ladies and gentlemen, the signs are mixed at best. The recovery is evident, but some of the figures mentioned still suggest that there are risks that exist. As we have seen, the headwinds of a downturn can affect us in the ways that we can surely anticipate, but not necessarily dissipate, especially when we have such a disproportionate reliance on Europe. The fact today is that we have to do all that we can to make the most of the opportunities that come our way. And we believe that there is no lack of them. Failure to get in the stride of the most recent developments will result in our economy lagging behind all the others, compelling us in a state of lethargic growth in the future. We have a responsibility towards this country, that of creating wealth for its inhabitants, to improve their living standards, and bring our economy to the high-income country status. Last year was a seminal year in terms of expanding our wealth of resources, extending our frontier to integrate our exclusive economic zone of 2.3 million kilometers in our development agenda. As Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. The ocean economy indeed provides us with a plethora of new prospects, such as seabed exploration of hydrocarbon and minerals, fishing, seafood processing and aquaculture, deep ocean water applications, marine services, seaport-related activities, marine renewable energies, and ocean knowledge. The private sector has a key role in developing all of these. The potential for progress is there, and the onus is on us to harness it. Ladies and gentlemen, while the ocean economy broadens our resource base and expands our supply capacity, it is one of the many strategies being pursued to change our economic paradigm. We need new markets. Fortunately, we do not have to look very far to find the most vibrant economies of our recent times. The Bourgeois hotbed of rising middle income class of African continent is a perfect outlet for our entrepreneurs to ply their trade in more ways than one. We are proud members of proud African family, and it is high time that we take full advantage of our existing entrepreneurship, the relationship. Africa has much to offer in terms of export markets, in terms of industrial and agricultural space to relocate production lines, and also in terms of resources to enable true and real beneficiation. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth is we have been lacking a plan, a proper development plan that would assess where we are and set the agenda that will take us to 2030. We won't get anywhere if we don't even know where we are going. We are no longer the callow, nearly independent economy that we were 4 decades ago. We now have the experience to embark on new development projects that we would never have dreamt possible. The Mauritius Vision 2020 was a formidable document that identified avenues where attention, resources, and talent should have been directed. We have, however, deterred on too many futile issues that go beyond the economic and social consideration that good governance demanded. We do not require a government that is there only to fix what is wrong, but also to build what is right. We only need the government by our side, marching on towards a common goal, as we always have been doing. We concede that the government cannot do everything for us, but at the very least, we require that we are not impeded in our endeavors. We require that we are heard, and we require that our pleas are considered. We are concerned with the innumerable promises condemning us to endless gridlock on important policy matters, and we want to eliminate the constant cycle of procrastinating the construction of important infrastructure. The luxury of time is no longer on our side. We have been operating under duress for far too long. The wit and wisdom of Sir Winston Churchill emphasized on the importance of our ilk. To quote the man himself, some people regard private enterprise as a predatory tiger to be shot. Others look at it as a cow they can milk. Not enough people see it as a healthy horse, pulling a sturdy wagon. And this horse needs to be strong to remove people out of unemployment. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to take time to talk about the destructive cause that is unemployment, because we believe that there is nothing worse than seeing the mental and physical capacity of our able countrymen being wasted while there is so much that still needs to be done. It is inconceivable that the unemployment rate of Mauritius is higher than that of the UK or the US, when those economies have experienced contractions in output recently. Our young graduates get out of university after several years of toil, expecting a decent job that will help them achieve their dreams and fulfill their commitments. They aspire to a better life for them, for their parents, for their future families, but are unable to match their skills to the demands of the labor market. It is our duty to get them back in the system, to make Mauritius once again a land of opportunity. The success of the youth employment program should not be a basis to discontinue design of additional schemes to reduce unemployment. Some consideration should be given to on-the-job training, providing students experience as well as instructions. We welcome the dual training program announced in the budget and which came as a proposal of the MCCI in our budget memorandum. Labor market rigidities need to be addressed, encouraging companies to reward the most deserving individuals and improving the potential of productivity of the workforce. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of last year, through our very own economic barometer, pointed towards a thinning of the dark clouds that have been hovering over us, a certain recovery was expected. However, the latest issues show that this mood has not been sustained, and the hopes of entrepreneurs have not materialized. To their credit, however, as shown to our survey, they will expect that the future will be brighter and will spare no efforts to make it happen. We need stable policies for that, and it would be a major victory for an erstwhile stagnant economy. We know how difficult it has been. We know all about the obstacles that have come our way, and we have valiantly survived because we believe in our capacity. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll end by making a rallying cry to all stakeholders. Let us work together and make Mauritius once again the buccaneering force that made us the country we are today. We need this country as much as the country needs us. Thank you very much.